Okay. Um, how did the Trayvon Martin situation make you feel?
Um, I think the more I got the details, the more frustrated that I got. Just just because the the lack of justice that I saw. Um, it seemed to me that the situation was pretty clear cut. That you know the incident was instigated by Zimmerman, and uh, the, the audio tape suggests Zimmerman instigated the situation and ended up killing the young man. Who essentially started winning the fight that he started, and now he's claiming self-defense and hasn't got any charge. Um, it was upsetting. Just like knowing people can get away with stuff like that. So, and that was what hit me the most and what made me want to do more research on it, because that's something that I instantly saw I didn't want happening again.
Upon the research that you have done, what more have you learned and how has it made you feel?
Um, well, one thing when I first heard about this situation, it was that a white man had killed uh, Trayvon Martin, and in many ways, because I've been aware about a lot of racial issues and events that have come up recently in the past couple of years. Having that white man to man of color to justice was to be expected in some ways. And then to find out he was like multiracial and like mainly identified as Hispanic, kind of brought the issue to a different light where it kind of reflected that anybody can be racist or act in a racist manner because of the social construction of what looks like a suspicious figure at nighttime based upon race in our country. It was also a little embarrassing to me as a Hispanic male to see something that I was very upset about uh, came from someone, like myself, for example, who's identified as Latino, and I would hope I had better judgment as to that for that situation.
Um, what do you know about the laws that surround this case?
Well, I know the laws that they're using, uh, or that in this case, the law that was passed, someone
Stand
allowed
your
you to
ground.
stand your ground. Uh, I know that one kind of, in my mind, pushes for this situation to be okay and for it to happen again and again legally. Uh, you know, to the point where people might, take advantage, might lose some innocent people. I think it's possible. Um, I think the laws that the self-defense law, I just don't think applies in this situation. As a criminal justice major, I know you can't begin an altercation and then use deadly force because you aren't winning in this altercation. Um, and it's just avoids that protection of that law from the very beginning once you begin the altercation, because you're the aggressor.
Well, since North Carolina has a similar law where if someone does come up to you using deadly force that you can defend yourself, how would you feel if you were put in a situation where you had to basically defend yourself?
Um, in this state, I think I'd be scared to exercise my rights with that law. I don't know if that law applies to me. Um, in many ways, just that's just how I feel about that. But being put in that situation, I think the worst part about that situation is that that situation can be possible.
Hmm.
You know, um, I could be on either end of that situation, and I don't want to be in either end of the situation because either end someone has the ability to use deadly force, and I don't. That's the responsibility of somebody's life.
Hmm.
That you get into people, the everyday citizen, that sometimes doesn't even understand the amount of power that they're implementing on somebody. And they say they can deadly force.
What type of advice could you give to children that the society coins as minority in situations like this?
I think I'd have to give them two types of advice, and personally, I'd have to be a lot more honest with them because I personally fear for their safety. If I know from personal experience what's coming next for them once they grow out of that young stage where people know their children or young men, you know, or girls, where they're still assumed to be innocent. It seems like the 15, 16-year-old man and one a woman of color seems to be that prime age where they start becoming suspicious at night instead of being young kids. And I tell them to be careful, you know what, be aware of their surroundings, and you never know nowadays. You can just be walking home after you got a bag of Skittles and some ice cream, and end up doing the last thing you ever did in your life,
Hmm.
and nobody's getting charged. And then I would tell them, you know, preventative. It may not be fun, but your safety now is at risk. Start getting educated on what policies are going through. Your parents ain't voting. You know about what's going on. Talk to them, get them to vote. It's, if you look at the national picture with like Arizona banning minority studies, some places are going backwards today. Safety is at risk.
So, if Zimmerman was to get charged, how would you think the outcome of the trial would be?
I don't know. I think because of all the media attention that it's gotten, um, whatever the first decision is, if there ever is one, I think that'll be highly debated and appealed because of the media influence. But hopefully the evidence is strong enough. I know for me it's pretty clear, you know, an obvious wrong was done, and I think he should be found guilty. I'm not sure how they're gonna punish him with that. If they were to want to make an example of him or not.
Mhm.
That's how sometimes these things work whenever it's that publicized. But I would hope, you know, whatever the evidence shows, that's hopefully it's going to lean towards the side that get some charges and hopefully be taken off the streets or something. All right. Uh, can you tell me how the Trayvon Martin story made you feel?
Okay. In the beginning, when I read about it, it was just like one of those stories I read on the internet, seemed like every week about some African American young male being basically put in a situation that he had no business being put into, and then ended up having to deal with it by losing his life. So at first I kind of bypassed the whole situation. Then we were sitting in change class, and how we brought it up, that's when I like really got more in depth with it. And I was just thinking like, wow, this is something really serious, seeing as how it had so much media coverage about it. And it did make me mad because I feel like African Americans, not just us, but majority of African Americans deal with the butt end of everything. We are the most discriminated against, and I feel like America is never going to be a place where we can actually feel comfortable and call ourselves citizens, actually, because we will never get the same amount of equality that whites have or any other race may have on top of us. And so, upon hearing all the different information and like hearing the phone calls and just reading about everything, it started to piss me off because I felt like one, the media was trying to um, highlight that Zimmerman was white, but when you look at his picture, he looks more Hispanic than he does white. And I feel like with the whole white thing, they're going to try to use that as a justification in this case. And it just like made me mad how they were trying to coerce the witnesses that were a part of everything and try to tell them no, it wasn't Trayvon, it was Zimmerman. And then when they basically violated Trayvon Martin's like private life of how he got suspended, that's the reason why he was in Sanford, and like hacking into his Twitter page and like getting all the tweets that he had on his page saying he was a part of the gang life and drugs and violence and stuff. I felt that was unfair because one, Trayvon is not here to defend himself. Zimmerman is still walking around. He's paying people off to basically tell others, oh, he's a good, innocent man when he has a history of a violent past. Like, it just makes you madder as you think about it. And the whole fact that he has not been charged yet. And Trayvon has been gone off this earth for like a month now. It's just really, really, like, really pissing me off because I have a brother that's around Trayvon's age. And that could have been him in that situation.
We went into some of the research and what happened. Do you have anything else on that you want? Uh, some of the laws around the issue that you found?
I know the one law that they do have that Zimmerman is trying to use is the stand your ground law, where if you are presented in a situation where you have to use self defense, that's basically what he's trying to claim, self defense, like you said earlier. And I know North Carolina has a law that's like that. It's called the Castle Doctrine, where you basically can use self defense if someone comes into your home or tries to break into your home or tries to attack you while you are in like public areas. You can use any type of deadly force you need to help you. And I feel like, as you said before, it's not necessary to use that because Zimmerman picked the fight. And once he got to a point where he did something he should not have had no business doing, then he wants to cry boohoo self defense. But in all actuality, you're wrong in all sense of the matter. You can't cry self defense when you started it. And for you to be someone that's over 200 pounds and for Trayvon to be a 180-pound kid, does that really seem fair to say that he was basically whipping your ass when you basically initiated everything? You have more physical force over him. Man, I don't know what to say.